In this clip, a British man was quietly filming a Remembrance memorial, an event that holds deep meaning across the United Kingdom as people pay tribute to those who sacrificed their lives for the country. While he was recording, he was suddenly confronted by a foreign man who accused him of filming him without permission. Despite the fact that the British man was clearly focused on the memorial itself, the confrontation quickly escalated. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. The foreign man became visibly agitated, moving closer and attempting to grab the British man's phone in an effort to stop the recording. The British man stood his ground, calmly insisting that he had every right to film in a public space, particularly at a national memorial where no private filming restrictions apply. What started as a peaceful moment of remembrance soon turned into a heated exchange, with the aggressor continuing to argue and behave in a confrontational manner. When his attempts to take the phone failed, the foreign man then threatened to call the police, despite being the one who had initiated the confrontation. This type of behavior, where someone attempts to intimidate or silence another person who is acting lawfully, raises serious questions about respect for public spaces, freedom of expression, and basic civility. Moments like this strike a nerve because they highlight a growing tension around national pride and public behavior. The Remembrance Memorial is a symbol of unity and sacrifice, a place that should be respected by everyone regardless of background. Instead, what we see here is an unnecessary clash brought about by aggression and entitlement. We'll now show you the footage so you can see exactly what happened and decide for yourself who was in the right. Have a watch of this.
Rangefinder.
Show me. Oh, I called to the police. What is this?
Police?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Take a video from me.
What?
Why you take a video?
I took a video of you?
Yes. What is
Shut
this?
up! It's a rangefinder. Don't be bloody stupid.
Don't do this.
I do this all the time.
Oh,
You fool.
can't take a video from
I
me.
can take a video of anything.
I call to the police if you do this.
Call the police.
What we just saw speaks volumes about respect and behavior in public spaces. A man filming a national memorial, something that honors our fallen heroes, should never be confronted or intimidated for doing so. This wasn't about privacy or misunderstanding. It was about a lack of respect for our traditions and the freedoms that those memorials represent. The British man acted calmly and lawfully, standing his ground when challenged without cause. Incidents like this remind us that respect for this country, its history, and its people must come first. If you choose to live here, you should honor the values and freedoms that define Britain, not attempt to silence or confront those who uphold them. In other news, grooming gang victim Carly Halliwell has written to Keir Starmer, warning that he risks silencing and failing us again. She has urged the PM to ensure that Jess Phillips is no longer involved in the inquiry after she suggested that victims had lied about the widening scope. Calls for Jess Phillips to stand down have been ongoing since a group of 4 survivors resigned from the inquiry's panel. They argue that the inquiry should focus exclusively on grooming gangs and should not include other forms of child sexual abuse. The survivors also accused the safeguarding minister of betrayal after she described reports of the inquiry's potential scope widening as untrue. Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood have reiterated their confidence in Phillips and confirmed that the inquiry will remain laser-focused on grooming gangs. The process of justice is facing month-long delays after both shortlisted candidates to head the inquiry pulled out earlier this month. Jim Gamble, a former police officer and the lead candidate, and Annie Hudson, a former director of children's services for Lambeth Council, stepped down after some survivors criticised their professional backgrounds. Addressing the Prime Minister in a personal letter, Ms. Halliwell wrote, "I want to express how deeply disappointed I am with how this inquiry has been handled from the very beginning. It was supposed to be survivor-led, trauma-informed, and supported properly." She argued that this process, promised in June following Baroness Louise Casey's report, has not been delivered, adding that the grooming gang's cover-up should not be grouped with all forms of child sexual exploitation, CSE, and abuse, CSA. As a solution, Ms. Helliwell suggested that the government should open a separate inquiry into other forms of child abuse. The survivor said, "This inquiry must return to its original purpose, to address grooming gangs and support their survivors. I'm asking you to put this right," she added. "We've been kept in the dark about what's happening. Survivors have been misrepresented." Jess Phillips publicly called Fiona Goddard a liar about expanding the inquiry scope, even though we received those questions by email. Jess Phillips should no longer be involved in this inquiry, having lost the faith of grooming gang survivors. It's now widely known that the panel includes survivors of various types of abuse, not just grooming gangs. We've watched debates in Parliament that feel like empty promises. Ms. Helliwell highlighted that Sir Keir's personal letter to grooming gang victims did not include their names, describing it as automated, impersonal, and dismissive. She continued, "The same letter with just one line changed was sent to the 4 survivors who resigned from the panel. They deserved better, we all did. Please don't forget what this inquiry was originally for, grooming gangs and their survivors. You're at risk of silencing and failing us again." She referenced the 4 survivors who have already stepped away from the inquiry and warned that more will follow, adding, "And that means failing current victims, too, those still suffering today. It also discourages others from coming forward now and in the future. I urge you to do the right thing, help restore some faith. Let us work together to get the justice we so desperately need." 2 asylum seekers who chased hotel workers with knives in a dispute over food have been jailed. Ibrahim Zouari, 35, and Hussein Nuera, 32, were residing at the Roundhouse Hotel in Bournemouth, Dorset when the incident occurred on April 17, 2024. The pair returned to the hotel at 6:20 a.m. and aggressively approached staff and demanded to be served lunch, which met their dietary requirements. When they were told this was not possible because breakfast was being served at the time, the duo exploded. Noura, a migrant from Tunisia, started becoming violent and picked up part of the breakfast display before throwing it at hotel workers. One member of staff admitted retaliating by throwing coffee at him, which is when the real ruckus began. Libyan migrant Zouari then became involved by picking up a chair before he grabbed a knife and threatened staff while chasing them. Footage of the disorder, which lasted around 5 minutes, was caught on CCTV and played at Bournemouth Crown Court. Staff and other asylum seekers staying at the hotel, which was at the centre of protests this summer, were eventually able to calm the situation. Both men were charged with threatening a person with a bladed article. Zouari was jailed for 15 months on Friday, having received other convictions during his time in the UK, while Nuera was given a 12-month sentence in May. Zouari arrived in the UK in 2022 after travelling to the country illegally from Libya, where he said he faced a lot of political trouble, especially because his family were pro-Gaddafi. He claims he was tortured before he left, and his brother was killed. The court was told that at the time of the incident, Zouari had been at the Roundhouse for around 2 months after bouncing between other asylum hotels. Stuart Ellicott, prosecuting, said Zouari can be seen on CCTV chasing Vignesh Ponasemi, who describes he thought he was going to be killed. It made him feel like it was his last day of his life. They were going to kill him, as no one could stop them. He added, "It was a prolonged incident. There was a risk of serious disorder, and serious alarm or distress was caused to the victim." Since the attack, Zouari has amassed other convictions for assaulting emergency workers, shoplifting, and public disorder offences. Lauren Matthews, mitigating, said, "Zouari is frustrated and annoyed that he essentially went along with his peers. He does express genuine remorse and accepts responsibility for his actions." She added, "He just wants to live a peaceful life as much as possible. In Libya, he trained in construction, something if he was given status in the UK, he would want to pursue." He is someone who suffers from anxiety and depression and has a PTSD diagnosis, which means he is unable to regulate his emotions in the same way, particularly in respect of conflict. Recorder Brian Fitzherbert said, "Although Nwira started it, it's my assessment that you played the leading role out of the two in what followed. You pose a risk to the public. I do not consider there to be a realistic prospect of rehabilitation." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.